Good evening, students. Today, Queen Elizabeth II, she has passed away and she was the longest reigning monarch in the world. She died at the age of 96. As we are the students of English literature and we perceive everything connected to literature, today I'm going to talk about the value of Queen Elizabeth II and English literary studies. We have talked about Elizabeth I. We know the conditions, situations related to Elizabeth I and her reign. We know about Mary Queen of Scots. We also know about the Mary Magdalene concept. We know about the Bloody Mary concept. We know about multiple assassin attempts of Queen Elizabeth I. Then we also went through the issues related to restoration and how Queen Mary, Queen Anne, they were involved there. Then we also studied the same thing, that how Queen Anne became the queen, what were the conditions of the Spanish War of Succession. This is how we have gone through the journey of British kings, queens. We got settled with Queen Victoria when we found that for a long time there was a properly established government under the rule of Queen Victoria, 1837 to 1901. But after this, there were slight changes in the kingship and it again found establishment, a proper settlement, with the accession of Elizabeth II to the throne in 1953. 1953, Queen Elizabeth II, she became the Queen of England. She became the honorary crown. And how her presence is related to literature. So, the students of UG Senate English who are studying under my guidance, you all know that. In fact, today also in my offline batch classes, we were discussing this thing, that what was the relationship of Elizabeth II with literature. My friends, the most important contribution is the Commonwealth Literature and Elizabeth II. Commonwealth literature is actually dealing with the literature of 53 plus countries, or we can simply say 50 plus countries. These countries were once enslaved by Britain, but during the 1950s and 1960s, most of these countries were fighting for their freedom and were achieving it. One of the remarkable example is that 1947 India got free. When these countries got freed from the dominion of Britain, the rule of Britain still were trying to control politics. The British government decided to start a kind of group where all countries once enslaved by Britain can live together, can survive together, and can share the cultural practices, political conditions, all other details. This resulted in the Commonwealth Empire, which was given a title Union of the Crown. But as we know that Union of the Crown, the title itself is showing the superiority of the crown while the other nations are not having that kind of superiority, or it somewhere puts that the other nations are inferior, or it actually shows that the crown is still dominant. Most of the countries protested against it, and the reference, the title Union of the Crown, got removed. All of these countries, they got settled with one common title, Commonwealth countries. We know today that there are Commonwealth Games. We know today that there are Commonwealth Literature Studies. We also know famously that one famous writer, Salman Rushdie, questioned this thing and said Commonwealth literature does not exist. Queen Elizabeth II, she was the most active queen. She would participate in political affairs, she would take interest in international relations, and she traveled the world. She attended Commonwealth Games. She started multiple conferences related to the development of Commonwealth Empire. She has visited India. There are some famous photographs of Taj Mahal. And then she was the one who went through or survived multiple scandals. The famous scandal of Diana, Princess Diana, her killing through accident. So, in short, she was the longest reigning monarch. Approx 70 years she was the queen. And how, under her rule, there were multiple poet laureates who became poet laureates. One of the most famous example for my literature student is Carol Ann Duffy, the last poet laureate under the rule of Queen Elizabeth II. Carol Ann Duffy was not only the first female poet laureate, she was also the first lesbian poet laureate. She was LGBTQ right activist and she herself admitted about her sexual orientation, calling herself a lesbian. These kind of things were happening in the reign of Queen Elizabeth II. She is the one who appointed 15 plus prime ministers. And when you see that Elizabeth II is no more, the another royal family member, Charles, is going to take the command. Prince Charles is going to be called King Charles. But do you know that this King Charles is going to be King Charles the Third? King Charles the One, coming from the Stuart dynasty. He came in 1625 to 1649. In 1649, he was beheaded by Puritans. Then, in 1660, son of Charles I, Charles II, he returns, which is also known as Restoration. The mark of Restoration is the accession of Charles II to the throne. This man, the present king, Prince Charles, who is going to be the Charles III, will actually follow the Stuart dynasty. Now, there are certain details that I have noted for you, and I'm going to tell you these points so that you can study and connect. As I can tell you certain things here, the first thing that you have to remember here, Queen was crowned in 1953 and reigned for approximately 70 years. Then, the most important that you have to remember is that she was the witness of multiple things, just like the Kennedy's murder, assassination of John F. Kennedy, the President of America, moon landing. She's the only queen who witnessed this thing, the moon landing thing, the fall of the Berlin Wall, and the COVID pandemic. It is also said that during her marriage, when Mahatma Gandhi attended the marriage of Queen Elizabeth II, he gifted her a handkerchief, a khadi handkerchief. Then she has appointed 15 prime ministers in UK. Her husband, he was 73 years old, died in 2021, Prince Philip. And then she went through multiple scandals, including one of the most famous, it's not infamous, it's famous scandal. Prince Andrew and Harry, Meghan, leaving the royal title. Yes, Prince Andrew, who served during the Falkland War as a trained helicopter pilot, he left the royal titles and started living like commoners. One of the greatest move ever. Now, all I want you to say and understand is that the Queen's system is still there, King's system is still there. So Britain has a system of monarchy, but they do not participate in active politics. Queen Elizabeth II was very much concerned about the situation around the world. So she was the one who witnessed the horrors of war, horrors of different issues. So that's why there is a direct role of Queen Elizabeth II with modern literary trends, modern literary writers. Most of the literary writers of 1960s, 70s, they were personally awarded by her. She had great interest in poetries. She was personally the fan of Philip Larkin and Ted Hughes. Along with these things, she worked for the literatures of minorities. She supported the voices across the world. As a literary teacher in India, it's my responsibility to bring these kind of topics to you. Being a teacher of English literature, I am just trying to connect it. If you like this video, if you think that I have explained certain things, I have narrated it, and I tried to find a connection between Elizabeth II and literature, write it in comments, and soon I'll bring more videos on English kings and queens. Share this video with everyone, and yes, this is Vineet Pandey style. I'm not bound to some particular syllabus. I am bound to English literature. So those who love literature by heart, share it with everyone. Thank you so much.